everybody. Welcome back to the Tomahawk. I'm Mike. Matt's up top. Justin's over there. And we're going to talk about the Carolina series. It was looking really good after the first game. And the second game came, and there's a lot of good stuff in there. And then it turned into a heartbreaker. But I think a big positive from this is that, you know, we can hang with the top teams in the division, and we can beat the worst teams as well. It was kind of funny. In years past, it seemed like a common thread with the Hawks was that they would play really well against the top teams and then lose against the bottom feeders down there. So, Matt, what did you think of the Carolina series in general?
I thought we were giving up way too many shots still. Thought Lankinen played good. That last goal that ended up being the go ahead in the second game, kind of like a change-up knuckleball type of shot, and he kind of kicked it out. It was bad luck. But I think a couple players that stood out to me were actually Dylan Strome. I thought he was really, really good. I thought Connor Murphy was solid. And, Kaner, of course, a guy is still, he had a nice steal on the one guy and gave DeBrincat a nice pass in the first game. But other than that, Lankinen played good. It hurt the way it ended. We would have liked to get a point, but it just didn't work out that way.
Almost like it's soul crushing in a way, because it's, they're thinking like, hey, we can win this. We're going to walk out of this. And then before you know it, you lose at the very end and you go in, incredibly dejected. I mean, to be honest with you, I think that's even worse than getting beat up the whole game, So, Justin, what do you think, man?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the first game, I feel like they were almost lucky to get out of there with a win. I think that night I texted Matt, and I know I was harping on this, a couple of weeks ago. I think the amount of the way that they're getting outshot just worries me, because I feel like with Lankinen, he's a rookie. He's going to start to get tired. And I don't know if the Hawks have the defense to kind of back him up as much as like they did during the Cup years, where it was like, whoever you put behind Seabrook and Keith and everyone else, they'll be fine back there. But like I think for the first Hurricanes game, it was 32 shots to 16 shots. But I think the real reason that was so rough is I was looking at the faceoff percentage, and the Hawks only won like 35% of the faceoffs in that first game. So, I mean, right there, every time the Hurricanes get the puck from a faceoff, you're setting them up, especially if they're in your own zone. You're going to give up some more shots right there. So that was rough. I think the first game against Carolina was good, though, because they stayed more physical. I think the hits were pretty close. There's a little more physicality, which was nice to see, because the Hawks are kind of always, they'd rather just kind of skate by if they could instead of getting physical, especially in the corners. Second game, it was a heartbreaker at the end, like you guys said. Man, that was rough to watch. I feel like they really deserved that game. Lankinen was keeping them in it. I couldn't believe in the first period of the last game, though, like they had 3 shots in the first period. And I think it was Olchek on the broadcast. I think it was Olchek, or maybe it was Foley, but one of them said that this was like the third time that had happened this season already, where they were held to like under 3 shots in the first period, which just like blows my mind. Like you couldn't manage to get more than 3 shots in 20 minutes, but at least they're staying competitive. I mean, that's all you can ask for. I mean, that's all I can ask for this season. I'm still shocked that they're hanging in there for a playoff spot. I thought we'd be down by like where Detroit was this season. So it is what it is. I mean, I just keep hoping they back up Lankinen, because he's going to need help as the season goes on. So
Justin,
that's what I'm thinking
incredible.
Anyway.
I mean, they're actually getting outshot in some games 2-1, and they're winning these games by more than 1 goal. So is it that they're, do you think that they're trying to get too pretty with goals, or are they? Is it a passing thing? Because a lot of times they're trying to do a lot of cross ice passes, and they get intercepted a lot. What do you think?
That's a great question, Mike. I feel like when it's 5-on-5, I don't know if they're just trying to be too pretty, because the power play has like been working great, right? I think they're still in the top 5 for power play. Does that sound about right? Top 2? All right. Thank you, Matt. So, I mean, in that regard, it's great. Obviously, when they're playing a man up, but if they just put more pucks on, even if they're not the best shots, I feel like their offense is pretty strong despite being outshot so much. Like, if you just kept putting pucks on and going to the right spot, you're probably going to score even more. So they might be more of an offensive threat than we give them credit for. But, you know, I don't know. I think like you said, I think they're maybe trying to be too fancy. I don't know. Matt, what do you think?
Well, I don't know if you guys noticed, but they kind of carry the puck in like the old school Hawks. And teams are onto that. I mean, they're ready for them at the blue line. So
the first blue line.
You got to chip and chase. It's old school. You got to dump it in, get a man on him. Ryan Carpenter, he's actually, that line has been really effective because when they're dumping it, that guy is like a hound.
Yeah.
And
he's getting into the zone, and he's like pinning it into the boards.
Well, and he's getting it back up to his D. And honestly, our D, they don't get too many shots through. It's either wide or in the chest, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Do you think that the defense offensively and defensively, there's a problem there, Matt?
A problem with getting the shots through?
Well, getting the shots through and defending.
Yeah, I think, well, we don't really have like a Brent Burns, like can fire the puck. We don't really have a guy like that. Keith, he never shoots. I think he's got like 1 goal in 7 years. Seabrook probably was the last guy who could, tee one up and it'll get through. But we got, like you said, like Justin said, actually, with the pretty plays and pretty passes, highlight reel, like backhand passes to Kane, and Kane gives. It's not going to work like that. We got to start getting ugly goals and fired on net. You never know. I mean, I think Dylan Strome had another tip in the second game that went right over. Was it James Reimer in that? I think it was Reimer, and it went right over his head. We just missed the crossbar, but
right.
You never know. You screen the goalie, you get tips, and you got to score ugly. And like I think I agree with Justin. I think this pretty place, it's got to stop. Let's just old school, put it on net, hope for a rebound, or hope it even goes through.
Hey Justin, do you think that the play that the Hawks are doing? I mean, I agree with you 100%, Matt. It seems that that someone starts carrying it up, and then they have like a full head of steam, and then they just drop it back, and then Kaner's kind of hanging out back there, and then he does a circle around, and then he carries it up, and he's not going to pass it. It's not that he's a puck hog, but it almost is. It seems like they think that he's the only guy who can carry it into the zone. I think that Bolquist does it all the time, and leaves it for dunks or for Kane. I think that anybody, just as long as you get to that blue line, can just chip it in, and everybody just do a kamikaze into the zone, and it doesn't seem like they're doing that. Matt, do you think that maybe a kamikaze into the zone is something that they can do, or is there something else that would be more effective?
Well, the whole point of dump and chase is to wear out your opposing defense. So say first period, you're not getting too many chances, but you're dumping it in, you're getting on that defenseman, you're putting a body on them, you wear them down. Then in the third period, when they're dead tired and looking over their shoulder like, oh shit, I'm going to get hit again, they make mistakes, and those mistakes create scoring chances. And I had a coach who told me that, and I was like, why are we playing this way? We got so much skill. He goes, no, you want to wear them down in third period, you take control of the game, and we ended up winning a lot of games because of that.
Wow. Looking at the Hawks, I don't think that they're really built for that type of game. We've got like maybe 2 guys that'll hit people, Connor Murphy and Zadorov, and
they can't chase.
Yeah, and they can't chase at all. And then you got other guys like Bolquist, who's like 5'11". He's not going to be hitting people. And I just don't think the team is built for that, which is a Bowman issue. But I don't think that Bowman built this team to be physical. I think that he meant for them to be fast and agile and talented. Justin, do you think that maybe having a more talented team is better than having maybe a rougher team?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think you can find a decent balance. I feel like you don't want to steer too far into one direction. It constantly reminds me of, was it the Ducks of 2015 now, where the big thing was, oh, we're gonna want you guys, we're gonna hit you guys so hard in the playoffs against the Hawks. You guys aren't gonna know what to do, and it's like you can't hit what you can't catch, right? Like that was the whole thing of that series. But I feel like you got to have a happy medium. For me, though, I feel like just the way the defense is constructed right now, I think you and Matt you had a lot of good points about trying to, tee one in from the blue line and then getting people in the net, but they're not necessarily hitting the net, or they're shooting wide, or they're getting blocked. I'm on Hockey Reference right now. So if you pull up the top 2 scorers for the Hawks defense pairings right now is Boquist. He's got 2 goals and 12 assists, which he's young like that. That's pretty good, right? For 20 something games, I think he's played. The second leading defenseman scorer is Keith.
He's got 1 goal.
That's it. Like everyone else has like 6. Yeah, he's got 1 goal. So the rest is all like 6, 7 points. I think Connor Murphy's actually 1 or 2 behind Keith. But like when that's your defensive core, I mean, don't get me wrong. They're doing much better this year than I thought they would. But it's like, all right, you can't rely on those guys. You don't really have any strong offensive defensemen. And at the same time, you're letting these guys win faceoffs and get extra shots. So the defensive side of it's kind of struggling a little bit too. And I feel like you don't want to have like a house of cards, because once that collapses, it's going to leave, it's going to leave Lankin or Subban, who's ever back there. It's going to leave them out to dry, and then things are really going to get bad. But I don't know. You got to find a balance between being a physical team and more of a skill team. I don't know. That's just like growing up watching hockey with my dad. It was like, you got to let them know you're there, but you can't only focus on that. Otherwise, you're going to end up in the penalty box half the time.
In closing, at least on the Hawks, I'm going to say that I think that they need to have the defense really start getting pucks through and onto the goalie so that they can create some rebounds and create some dirty goals, instead of moving the puck around from corner to corner for about 30 seconds, getting it back to somebody. Somebody finally takes a shot and it sails wide, which is constantly happening. But I want to move on into the sin bin with Matt. Give him 5 minutes, or maybe a 10-minute major today. He might have something hot. What do you got for us today, Matt?
All right, boys. I was listening to NHL radio today, and good discussion.
This better not be about Vinny Hinostroza. I hope this isn't like your big freaking thing that you're putting out there.
No. It's about the expansion draft, and I got to pull up a little reference here. But so every team has to protect 7 forwards, and let's see, 1 goalie, and it doesn't say anything about defense. But who do you think the Hawks are going to protect? And you can't pick Kane and Taves because they have the no movement clause as well with Keith. I think we were talking about Dylan Strome. I think since he's got a year left, I think they're not going to protect him, and I think that he might be the odd man out. And I don't know why Seattle would want him, but I think out of our team, he might be the only option for them to. Unless it's a young prospect that's not protected. Well, but I just wanted to know your guys' thoughts.
I'll go first, and then Justin will go. I believe the way that the rules are set up, that they absolutely have to protect. They have to waste 3 protections on Taves, Kane, and Keith, because that they do have no trade clauses. So that takes up 3 right there. So they only have 4 left. So out of that 4, obviously DeBrincat's going to be one of them. That's 1.
Lankinen.
Well, yeah. Lankinen.
Tough, right?
Wait. We got to talk forwards. So we have 4 forwards left. That's DeBrincat, more than likely Hagel.
Tough?
Yeah, it is tough. I don't.
Herbie Doc.
I don't think that they'll protect Strome. Kirby Doc 100%, and maybe Suter.
Bowman's going to have a tough summer with that.
Yeah.
He's going to lose some sleep because he's losing like a Kurashev or.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to, even a young defenseman. I mean, if you said there's 3 defensemen, right?
Right.
Or 4? Well, Keith included, right?
Right.
So okay. So we got to protect Murphy probably.
And Mitchell, Bowden, and
their entries, right?
Yeah, they
safe.
don't count against it. Mitchell,
Yeah.
Bowden, and I think you know what, Boquist, because this is his second year, I believe that he has to be protected. What do you think, Justin?
I'd say I'm right there with you guys. The one, I don't know if I heard you guys say, I would definitely protect Kubalik.
Yeah.
I don't know if was that one you guys mentioned.
I did not mention him.
But I mean, the rest of those, I mean, I'm looking at their roster right now. There's nobody. What in terms of defense, do you protect? Now Ian Mitchell, is he technically an entry level?
No,
so would you not have to protect
protected.
him? So in terms of defense, yeah, I mean, there's not really kind of tell them take their pick. I feel bad saying that, but it's like I don't know. In terms of a goalie, I mean, if you have to let one go, you keep Lankinen, and then Delia, who knows if they're ever going to give him another shot. Subban, I could take or leave. I mean, it's definitely not nearly as contentious as I feel like it was when the Knights were coming in. It was like, holy cow, what are we going to do? And I mean, like Matt was saying earlier, there's a few guys you want to make sure you have them around, but yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know. I'll be curious to see what they do. I know now Shaw is on long-term IR, so will they have to protect him?
I don't believe so.
I don't know how that factors in.
I don't think that they would have to protect him because it's not like a contract stipulation. He's on LTIR because of an injury.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, there's a few rookies that are second-year guys you'd hate to see go, but at the same time, I feel like some of them are a dime a dozen at this point. So, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I mean, I always get super excited whenever there's expansion or something like that in the first place, just because it's exciting to see a new team, and especially the way the NHL is doing this, where you're pretty much guaranteeing the expansion team at least a shot at making the playoffs. It's not like like when we were kids in the 90s, I think the Sharks won 7 games their first season or something like that. I mean, it was awful.
Ottawa
for the
was
first
really
couple
bad
of years,
too.
So, oh God, yeah. They had Yashin, right? That was pretty much it.
Then they drafted Alexander Daigle, and then they drafted a blast from the past boys, and then they drafted Daniel Alfredson, and then they started winning some games, but it was absolutely brutal for them for a few years. Matt, what are your feelings on Kurashev? Because I obviously believe Kubalik would be the other one protected, but Kurashev has shown some signs of brilliance, to be honest with you, not only offensively but back checking as well. Do you think that maybe he gets a protection and maybe Hagel does not?
Dude, it's gonna be a tough summer for Bowman. I mean, like, we got a lot of good young, and I forgot, Justin mentioned Kubalik. I forgot about him, and I mean, we can't let a 30-goal guy go for nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be heartbreaking and just devastating for our offense, because I thought him and Taves had a little chemistry going on in that playoff series with Edmonton.
They did.
Yeah,
did. I mean, during the year they did as well.
Yeah,
but actually, now that I think about it, is Kurashev a rookie?
You know what, man? I don't know if he is even on like an entry level deal. I think it's more of a free agent signing, and I think Suter is too.
A free agent signing?
Because he played in the wasn't he in like the
Swiss
an
league?
elite league? Yeah, the Swiss elite or something. So I mean, shoot, it sucks because, I mean, we have no choice. We have to protect the Brinkat and Doc. We have no choice. That's 5 right there, right?
Yeah.
Or 4.
4.
So then you got to pick one of these guys. Is it going to be Hagel? Is it going to be? It's super tough. And I thought about it the whole way to work today, and I'm like, man, this would be a good conversation to have.
Hey, Justin.
And it is. It's hard.
Justin, is Kurashev on an entry-level deal, or is he a free agent?
So it looks like he was in the AHL last year with the Ice Hogs, and then he was in the Q the year before that. So he played a couple. It looks like he had like an entry, or not an entry, like a what do they call that? Like where they give you like 3 or 4 games. Yeah, he had like a tryout contract with Rockford in 2018, 2019 as well. So he hasn't played international since 2019. So I can't really find anything saying if it was I'm assuming he went to the Ice Hogs, and he was like I said, he played 60 games for the Quebec Ramparts. So maybe they drafted him out of the queue. I don't know. I don't remember them making a big deal. But I don't know.
He might
That's
be
a good question.
Then, to be honest with you, the Hawks actually might be. Yeah. They might be safe. So Matt, going forward, okay, we covered the expansion. What else do you got, man?
Well, I got some good news. The Buffalo Sabres finally won after, 17, 18 games, and they lost, or they beat Philly, which they're just been on a terrible run. And me and Justin were talking about the Ghost Bear getting waived, and a couple of years ago, man, he was like the next up and coming mobile puck moving defenseman, and they no one claimed him. I'm assuming. I mean, I didn't hear anything, and I'm really surprised. Like a team, even like us, didn't take a chance on him. He's got a pretty fair cap hit, and I maybe it's a salary, but I mean we have cap space, so I don't. We need to upgrade our defense, I think, and maybe give our young guys a little bit of a break. I think Mitchell has, like we said, he's never played this many games. I mean, college, what is it? Every weekend you play, sometimes on a weekday, and I think if there's a defenseman available, the Hawks, they got to get on it.
Yeah, I mean, he was on a steady diet of 1 game a week, benders and whores, so now it's just 3 games a week, and he's losing his knees. So Justin, do you think that the defense is something that the Hawks can even upgrade as they go forward?
They better. I was so excited when I saw that Ghost Despair got waived. I texted Matt right away. I'm like, dude, this is, he's having a really bad season. He didn't have a good season last year, but I feel like last year is a mess. I mean, just with the craziness that was going on in general. But I mean, 3-4 years ago, like he was an up and coming puck moving defenseman. We just had that huge discussion about puck moving defensemen, right? So I know I texted Matt that night. I'm like, he had a $4.5 million cap hit for 2 more years after this year. But this year the Hawks only had to pay 1.5. I'm like, that would have been just to try it out. And if it doesn't work out, I mean, that's dead money if you bury him in the minors. But I mean, the guy's only in his early 20s. It's like, come on, give him a shot. But I couldn't believe that nobody even gave him a chance. And he's just sitting in, was it Lehigh Valley now, I think, is their farm team in the AHL. So I don't understand that. I think that would have been a perfect opportunity to bring in someone else with experience. I mean, Bowman's really big on reclamation projects, right? It seems like he always finds some diamond in the rough. This would have been a perfect opportunity. I mean, especially this season where maybe I'm not representative of the whole fan base, but like I kind of was just hoping they were competitive this season, and I didn't assume them to make the playoffs. But you can have this guy come in, and if things go well, he's a top 2, maybe top 1 or 2 pairing defenseman. And if things don't go well, he's in your bottom half pairings for D. So I was shocked nobody picked him up. I feel like though the Hawks, the offense, when it's working right, it's fine. They need to work on the defense and build from the back out. You know what I mean? But that's just,
Justin,
just me.
Do you think that the kids are maybe just nervous that, like say Mitchell's like, oh, I got Patrick Kane there, I got Dunks over there, I got to pass it off. Do you think that maybe they're holding them back a little bit?
Oh yeah. I mean, I speak from playing men's league hockey and playing with men's league with Matt for a bunch of years. I was so in my head the first couple seasons. Like I knew what to, like I had a rough idea of what to do, but you try to physically do it. And it's like, no, I can't do it because these guys know much more. They've played hockey a lot longer than I have. So I can't even imagine being at the pro level, like you said, you look over and you got Patrick Kane right there, and your D pairing is Duncan Keith. You're gonna probably take a couple split seconds to make your decision. Like, oh God, I don't want to screw this up. This is, I finally made it. This is my chance. So I think it's a combination of the nerves probably get to him a little bit. At least it would for me, but that's just me. And then secondly, like you guys were saying, they're playing a lot more often, and the season is only what, 2/3 of the way over, 60% done. I mean, they got a ways to go, so that they might start to wear down a little bit. Things might get a little bit worse before they get better.
Think of Ian Mitchell. He was probably a kid watching Duncan Keith eat his teeth, miss one shift, then come back out. Like that's stuff of legend. Matt, what do you got, man?
Well, while you guys were talking, I was looking at the Ghost Bears stats. I mean, he had a couple seasons. He had almost a 50-point season.
The Ghost Bear. What's his real name? He sounds like a
Shane Gothisbear.
Oh, okay. Sounds like a Russian
they
taxi
call him
cab
the Ghost
driver.
Bear. That's how he signs his autographs too. He signs a ghost and a bear. It's pretty cool, actually. But he's actually from Florida too, which is kind of weird. Not too many good players come out of Florida. But anyway, his best season, 52 assists, I think, in 19, and he had 65 points. And man, those are big numbers for a D-man.
Yeah.
We don't even have some top 6 forwards putting those numbers up.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, why not? Unless they're probably fully committed to the youth movement of the young guys. I mean, they've got Bowden practically playing in the AHL. That kind of goes to show you where they are, because I think that he's really, I think that he could play in the league, man. Obviously he just needs some seasoning, but I mean, he's no worse than Boquist is, and they've got Boquist playing on the top pairing.
Yeah, well, this kid he's 27. I mean, he's pretty freaking young, and he's got more experience than probably Connor Murphy. And I just think it's a shame no one even made an attempt to claim him. Sometimes there's like two teams will claim a guy, and it's, I think, what is the last, if you got a worse record, I think you end up getting to grab him. And even Detroit, I'm like, geez, this guy's Stevie Y. Come on, man, this guy's young. Could build around this dude, and maybe there's something behind the scenes and we don't hear about. Maybe he's got an attitude problem. Like the Rangers got a guy.
No offense.
D'Angelo. Oh yeah, Mike Babcock. Offense. But anyway, no. But I think the Rangers have a player too who was like top 5 in defensive points last year, and I guess he's really bad on social media, and they put him on the taxi squad. I think it's a D'Angelo or something, but it's another, like, come on, man. Like, just tell the guy to get off his internet and play hockey and give him a chance,
That's not how it is these days, man. It's not how it is. Yeah. These guys got to get on Twitter. They got to be on Instagram. They want to be heard.
Yeah.
So, in closing, we'll go around the room. We'll start with Justin, and give us your final thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, not to throw in my Leafs there for a second, but I just want to shout out Jack Campbell. I know in the past, I think the last time I was on, I was kind of saying how I was kind of worried because the Leafs didn't really have a backup. But I think I was listening to your guys' show last time, and I think you or Matt mentioned about, was it Quick maybe being brought in to back up Anderson? I just want to shout out Jack Campbell. He played tonight against the Jets. I was watching the game before we hopped on. He won tonight in a shootout. He is 8-0 for the season, and he's got like a 1.4 goals against and almost a .950 save percentage. So I take back everything I ever said about him because he is rocking. So go Leafs. If the Hawks fall apart, at least I have my second team to follow and back up. I'll jump ship to them. But that's all I got for you.
Call.
Yeah.
Just in case tonight falls through.
Exactly.
Matt, what do you got, man?
Well, if this is our big trade acquisition, Vinny and Estroza, good to have you back, Vin.
All right, I guess I'll close this out. There is, I think that the Hawks are I wouldn't say set up to win, but they have what it takes to win games. Clearly, What they need to do is have guys step up, whether young or old, and stepping up. If you're a veteran, could be stepping out of the way and letting another younger player come in and get that key experience that they need, and maybe give them that opportunity to fail so that they learn. And as for a younger player, that means stepping into those shoes and preparing yourself to fail. And if you don't, then keep driving on, get that confidence, because you've got an opportunity of a lifetime with an original six team to really play on. To really play and win, because they can win. And I think in the locker room, they believe that they can win. And having some of these dejective games like they lost against Carolina can be definitely a big learning experience for them, where the veterans are like, hey, look, we're gonna take some hits, but it's not over. We're not in seventh place, 10 points down, looking for a playoff spot. They're fighting, and they're in the race right now, and that's a big deal. So that's kind of where I stand at with that. Love the Hawks. I'm definitely getting into more of the NHL trade line news and seeing how things are going to pan out going forward. Welcome back to Chicago, Vinny. I hope you score 50 goals, man. I'm not going to wish you, I'm not going to wish ill of you, so be sure to, root the new guy on, and give us a like and a subscribe, guys. And this is Mike, Matt, and Justin, and we're out of here.